When we talk about a country's success, we almost always hear one big number, GDP, gross domestic product. It's the go-to metric for economists and politicians. For decades, India's GDP has been growing at a faster pace than Pakistan's. On paper, it looks like a clear win for India. But what does that number actually mean for the average person, for the families living day-to-day? Does a bigger GDP automatically translate to a better life? That's the question we're diving into today. We are going beyond the headlines and spreadsheets to explore what life is really like for households in both India and Pakistan. Because the story is simple as the numbers suggest. Let's find out. To get a real picture, we need to look at more than just money. We need to talk about human development. Things like education, healthcare, and basic living standards. This is where the Human Development Index, or HDI, comes in. It gives us a more holistic view. In recent years, both India and Pakistan have made progress, which is great news. But when you put them side by side, India consistently ranks higher on the HDI. This suggests that, on average, people in India have better access to the building blocks of a good life. But again, these are national averages. They can hide huge differences within a country. Averages don't tell you about the family struggling in a remote village or the one thriving in a bustling city. So, while HDI is a better tool than GDP, we need to dig even deeper. Let's start with something fundamental: health and nutrition. How well are people eating? How long can they expect to live? Life expectancy is a powerful indicator. In India, the average person lives to be about 70 years old. In Pakistan, it's slightly lower, around 67. 3 years might not sound like a lot, but when you average it out over entire populations of hundreds of millions, it points to systemic differences in healthcare, sanitation, and nutrition. Then there's the heartbreaking issue of child malnutrition. Both countries have fought hard to reduce it, but the challenge remains immense. Data shows that the rate of stunting, which is when children are too short for their age due to poor nutrition, is higher in India compared to Pakistan. This is a complex issue tied to diet, diversity, access to clean water, and mother's health. It shows that even with a faster growing economy, ensuring every child gets the right start in life is a massive hurdle. Now, let's talk about education. A country's future is literally sitting in its classrooms. The literacy rate, the percentage of people who can read and write, is a basic measure of educational success. Here, India has a noticeable edge. Its adult literacy rate is around 74%, while Pakistan's is closer to 59%. This gap has a massive impact on everything from job opportunities to a person's ability to engage with the world around them. But literacy is just the beginning. What about the quality of education? How many years do children actually stay in school? On average, students in India spend more years in the classroom than their counterparts in Pakistan. This means more time to learn, develop skills, and broaden their horizons. However, both nations face a learning crisis. Many children might be in school, but they aren't mastering basic reading and math skills. So, while India may have a quantitative advantage, the qualitative challenges are very real for both. What about the money in people's pockets? This is where it gets really interesting. GDP per capita, which is the country's total economic output divided by its population, is higher in India. This suggests the average Indian is economically better off. But average can be very misleading. We have to look at how that wealth is distributed. This is where inequality comes into play. Both India and Pakistan struggle with significant wealth gaps, but the situation is particularly stark in India. A tiny fraction of the population holds a massive chunk of the country's wealth, while hundreds of millions live on very modest incomes. So, while the national economic pie is bigger in India, a much smaller slice of it might be reaching the typical family compared to what the per capita numbers suggest. When we look at consumption data, what households actually spend money on, the picture becomes clearer. Studies analyzing household expenditure have shown that at certain income levels, Pakistani households sometimes report higher spending on essentials than Indian households. This challenges the simple narrative that a higher GDP automatically means more spending power for everyone. Let's move from the national level to the household. What does daily life look like? Access to basic amenities is crucial. Things we might take for granted, like electricity, clean drinking water, and proper sanitation. Here, the story is mixed and complex. Over the past couple of decades, India has made incredible strides in improving access to electricity and reducing open defecation through massive government programs. The Swachh Bharat mission, for example, aimed to build millions of toilets across the country. While the implementation has had its challenges, the impact on sanitation has been significant. In Pakistan, progress in these areas has been slower. Access to safely managed drinking water and sanitation facilities remains a bigger challenge for a larger portion of the population, especially in rural areas. However, when we look at certain other indicators, like the number of people per room, a measure of housing congestions, some data suggests that Pakistani households might be slightly less crowded than Indian ones. On average, this again shows how you can't just pick one metric. Quality of life is a mosaic of dozens of different factors. So, where does this leave us? On one hand, the broad national level data from the Human Development Index, literacy rates, and life expectancy gives India an edge. Its faster-growing economy seems to have translated into better overall outcomes in these key areas. On the other hand, when we zoom in on the household level and consider issues like child malnutrition, wealth inequality, and even certain aspects of daily consumption, the picture becomes much more nuanced. Pakistan, despite its slower economic growth and lower HDI, appears to be on par, or in some specific isolated cases, even slightly ahead of India. This tells us something incredibly important. GDP is not destiny. A country's economic output is just one part of a much larger, more complex story of human well-being. Focusing solely on GDP growth can hide critical problems. It can mask rising inequality, where the rich get richer while the poor are left behind. It can overshadow persistent issues like malnutrition that steal a child's potential before they even have a chance. The real measure of a nation's success isn't just how big its economy is, but how well it provides for all its citizens, especially the most vulnerable. The comparison between India and Pakistan serves as a powerful case study. It forces us to ask tougher questions, instead of just how fast is the economy growing. We should be asking who is benefiting from this growth. Instead of what's the GDP, we should ask, are children healthier? Are more people getting a quality education? Can families live with dignity? These are the questions that truly matter. For both India and Pakistan, the journey ahead is long. Both have incredible potential, rich cultures, and resilient people. The challenge is to create a model of development that is inclusive and sustainable, one that lifts everyone up, not just a select few. It's about building an economy that serves people, not the other way around. The goal shouldn't just be a higher GDP, but a higher quality of life for every single household. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. If this video made you think differently about how we measure success, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content that goes beyond the headlines. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think is the most important measure of a country's progress? Until next time, stay curious.